Hey guys, welcome back to Real Love Scenario.
Welcome back, y'all. We up in this feast.
Episode. How you feeling, Ron? Obviously, Rhonda's feeling great right now.
I'm feeling good. This is a bit of a psych trick. I'm hyping myself up. I feel good, but I'm trying to feel great.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
I've been a little sleep deprived the last 2 days. So honestly, Dre, I could just do like this and I'd probably go to sleep right now. So I'm
Mm.
hyping myself up. I got me a little matcha with my
Hey,
mug from Alexia.
shout out to Alexia for the mugs. I got my tea right here too. What
There
kind
we
you got? You
go.
got matcha? What is it? Green tea?
Matcha grapefruit. Yes, green
Okay.
matcha grapefruit green tea. Yeah. So that's my little I'm trying to hype myself up dance. I
I
feel
got
good.
some.
I'm always happy to be with you.
I got some camel meal and ginger right here. So that's how I'm
Yes.
starting my, or ending my night, I guess.
Yeah.
But no,
Chamomile,
I feel you.
you're coasting down.
I feel you. Like I've had those moments where, like, I like that old people got the best sayings. You know what I mean? Like that's where all the best cliches and stuff like that be happening. Because I remember the old thing my grandma and my aunt used to say, or my uncle used to say, is that I started watching that TV, and then that TV started watching me.
Watching
Like
me.
that be happening because when I go to bed, and I don't know if anybody else is like this, like if I had a full day, no matter how late my day ends, I feel like I gotta take at least a moment for me, right? It's like no
Yes.
matter, even if it in a 10, 11, 12, I'm like, I gotta at least take some time to do something I want to do to end my night. And I be having the best intentions, but
Mm.
then I wake up in that morning. I mean, I start looking at that TV, turn on a show instantly.
Yeah. Good
And then
night.
you wake your own self up like, oh, whoa, whoa.
Like,
And
Lord,
then
two and a half hours done gone by. I was just trying to take 5 minutes. Oh, yes. I don't mess around anymore. It's like, don't even get too comfortable unless you're going to get in the bed. So I feel you. I feel you. I feel you. Listen, we could go on and on about aging.
yes.
We can, but hopefully, y'all understand where we're coming from. And we welcome you back to another wonderful night live with Real Love Scenario.
For sure. Hey Brittany, welcome back. Here
Hey.
every week. We love it.
Yes, we know EJ is right there with you. Hey, y'all.
For sure. So before we hop into, we want to shout out all our real lovers. Thank you for coming back. People like Brittany who are always tuning in. If you want to be
That's
part
right.
of Real Lover Gang, please like, subscribe, comment, do all the things, and you'll be able to, get a shout out on this show and possibly even come on the show if you join our online community. You can go to Relationship Restored /community to come on community, to be a part of the community. And then you can also come and join us live on stage as we're doing this show. So speaking of our real lovers, we're going to do a real lover shout out. Ooh.
Right now.
So this is keeping up with 6523.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, you guys really hurt my feelings with this one. No one told me we
What?
were going live. No way to treat your number one fan.
I think we did keeping up with. We told you.
It's
We
okay. If you
told you.
didn't know, now you do know. Hey, Jasmine.
Yes. Hey, Jasmine. Yes, we told you, friend, but now you know. And there's going to be so many more for you to join us on. So listen, tap in, tell a friend. And for y'all in the chat right now, also tell a friend. Please tell a friend, share the link. We want y'all to come and parlay with us a little bit. Is that old? Did I sound old just now? Dre, you got help.
Parlay with us a little bit. I mean, sometimes, but there ain't nothing wrong with that. There ain't
All
nothing
right.
wrong with aging. Aging like fine
Okay.
wine. You know what I mean? I told you about the millennial thing. Did I say on the last episode, them girls told me when I was
Oh
out?
yeah. 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 Yeah.
It's a whole bunch of millennials in here. I was
Like
like, I almost clutched my pearls. Like, oh,
so we the old ones
I thought we were young. I
now?
thought millennials were young, but I guess not. I guess we're not the young ones anymore.
We not the young ones no more. We not the young ones no more. Well, listen, those of you in the chat, outside of telling a friend, tell us where you are joining us from. Drop your city in the chat, and we'll definitely shout y'all out in a little bit. But man, we the old ones. All right, I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna let it go. It's time to get into the real love scenario. You ready, Dre?
I am ready. Let's do
All
it.
right, let's do it. This week we hear from a gentleman. He says, "I am the primary financial provider for my family, while my partner is a stay-at-home mom taking care of our two children who are 10 months and 4 years old. I've noticed that she often feels mentally exhausted and overwhelmed by the demands of parenting, which can leave her feeling burnt out. I genuinely want to support her in finding a more fulfilling and balanced life, but we face challenges, particularly because daycare costs are quite high and she is not currently working. I'm seeking advice on how we can navigate this situation together, balancing our family needs, financial constraints, and her well being. What strategies or solutions might help us achieve a better balance?" Thank you for writing
Thank you for writing in.
this.
That's a real situation that I know a lot of people go through in their
Yes,
relationship. So I'm glad we get
for
to talk about it.
sure. For sure, man. And you know me, my heart is always like, "Oh, the man, a man wrote in. Thank you, kind sir." But I just felt like this just like touched my heart so, so much because you'll hear so many stay-at-home moms or just moms in general say like, he don't even try to really help me. Like they don't understand what I'm dealing with. So shout out to you for actually reaching out to get help in your situation. Like you deserve a hand clap just for thinking ahead to get some advice on how to do that. So shout out to you. Shout out to you.
I I agree. Where you want to start, Rhonda, with this one?
Listen, right where we ended with the question when he talked about balance, right? Like we hear the terms work-life balance all the time, but a lot of times we really only hear it talked about in the workplace, like for people that go out to work all day and they're finding, struggle with, bringing their personal life up to as much importance as their work life. But I think it's fair to say, and it's just true, that a person that stays at home, especially a mom, has work. She's just working in the home. And it is a rigorous schedule that includes getting dressed and breakfasts and wrangling kids to put their clothes on and getting them out for the school bus. Or maybe she's dropping them off to work. Dropping them off to school. So that is also work too. And I think we should just really talk about work-life balance and like what that really means and what that even really looks like. I know for me, I'm not the expert here. I'm completely struggling to balance my job and my life outside of my job. But I know how important it is.
Yeah, for sure. I don't know. I think it's work life balance is such a tricky thing. I
Mm-hmm.
think first, but I think there should be a different approach to it, right? So I think the first thing that you have to do is find a way to enjoy your work. Because what I typically see is that if you hate your job, it doesn't matter how much balance you try to provide. I still feel like there'll be some imbalance in your life, right? It's
Yeah.
like even when you get off on Friday, you might go to the extreme to have fun, like blow all your money, drink a lot, do this, do that to relieve
Mhm.
yourself, knowing that you still have to go back to work on Monday. Sometimes you can't even enjoy Saturday, Sunday because on Friday you think you got to go back on Monday, right? So when it comes to the work life balance, you first have to find ways to enjoy your work. Even if you hate your job currently, it's like, how do I assign this job purpose? Maybe once I save X, Y, and Z, I can go to this thing. Maybe this job is paying for my schooling or a training so I can switch career fields. Like you have to find some type of purpose in your work or give it a purpose or find a way to enjoy it in order to
Yeah.
start with having balance. Then when you get to that point, I think it's trying to seamlessly integrate like work and life so one doesn't feel too heavy, especially if you're like in the space that our real lover's wife is in, because that's somewhat like entrepreneurship in a sense, right? It's like you kind of can dictate the schedule a little bit. There is no, I mean, there's a 4 year old and a 10-month-year old that wants you, but there is no like boss that's telling you you have to be here at a certain time. So I feel like if you can find ways to seamlessly kind of integrate the things that you want to do in your life within the things that you're doing for your kids, then you might feel a little bit better about, your everyday and not feel too burnt out. So even if it's something like I've seen people do, it's like, hey, maybe on Tuesdays and Thursdays, you go to bed early and you tell your husband like, hey, can you put the kids to sleep, put the kids down? Tuesdays and Thursdays I'm going to bed at 7 because I know their normal bedtime is 7 to 6. And instead of getting up at 6, I'm gonna get up at 4 on Fridays and Wednesdays to have those first 2 hours be for me. You know what I mean? And then when they wake up at 6, then I can start doing all the other things. So then you start off your mornings doing stuff for you, and you're able to kind of balance that out, even though you know you have a lot on your plate when it comes to the kids once they're active and moving. So there's a lot of different ways you can balance it, but I think no matter what you do, if you do it primarily, you're going to need a relief, because that's one thing that I had to learn even going into entrepreneurship. And I had to tell other people this, like, I don't care how much you are doing your passion, I love this, if that becomes your primary thing, you're going to need a break from it, because it's going to
That's
feel
right.
like work. It's going to feel like work if you do it enough. So you have to find a way to enjoy that, but then also seamlessly integrate like the relief within your life as well.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges with like balance is the demand, right? The demand for your time to be doing something. I don't have small children, or we don't have small children, but they are, to kind of your point earlier, they are the bosses. They are dictating, like, I need this, I need that. It's just like my boss at work being like, I need a report, I need you to send me this. Or a client, like, can we have a meeting in 15 minutes? The kids are probably a way more unpredictable. They're not sending you a calendar invite for a meeting in an hour. They need whatever they need right then and there. So I think for her 10-month-old, it's probably a lot harder because
Very
the
true.
child is likely in the home all the time. Where the 4 year
Hmm.
old probably goes out to school. If they're in pre K, you're usually in pre K between like 4 and 5 years old. Um, but I want to say one of the things that I've tried that I try to use, and I use it. I only say try because sometimes it goes off and I don't honor it. I don't respect it. But I put my personal life on my calendar just like my job, because I tend to respect things that are on my calendar. I tend to see it or get an alert for it and I'm like, okay, in 30 minutes, I've got to get prepared for this meeting, or in 30 minutes, I've got to get ready to jump on this call. Where now I'm putting my personal life on my calendar too. Like at 6:30, it's saying it's time for you to meal prep, make sure your lunch bag is packed for work in the morning. Or at 8 o'clock, because I have to work out at night, you got to go to the gym. So that alert is going off 30 minutes prior because I have to drive to the gym. I miss my gym just being downstairs. But anyway, like literally using your calendar to help create structure even for your personal life, because if you don't, you will really just kind of fly by the seat of your cushion. Like you'll just flow with whatever is supposed to happen. I don't know what his work schedule is like, but I definitely think that punching out to punch in thing, even though he's been punched in at his job all day and she's been punched into her job all day, now you're punching out of your full-time gigs. And I think it's important to swap, like even if she's just getting an hour of this, that first hour when we're all home, I need you to take on this so I can go sit down for just 30 minutes. Just give me 30. He may then need the next 30 after he relieves you for him to decompress from his day. Like it is really putting time box on your schedule to come up with a plan. No, it doesn't sound super sexy, but family is structure. And like life honestly does require a lot of structure. And even for the things that you want to enjoy, I say to my friends all the time, like, if it's not on the calendar, it's not real. And I'm talking about happy hour, dinner, the
No, that's
play.
real. I gotta do that with
Yeah,
friends now. I gotta put it on the calendar. It's like because I will forget
yeah.
real
I will
quick.
forget. And I will also sit down and be like, that's okay. You know what? Or I'll look like on Friday mornings, I'll look and see like, do I have any plans this weekend? It's not gonna be in here. I pull up the calendar. If there's
Yep.
nothing on there, I'm like, okay, cool. Then tomorrow I can do this, I can do that, I can go run these errands. If it's no invitation on the calendar, baby, you can forget it. I'm not gonna be there. I'm probably not going to be there. So I think that's the reality of balancing your life and your work. It really is treating your personal life as much as you can like you do things in a regimented um process for your work. Even her, I'm sure that she has a structure for the kids every day. She knows what time just to get up, what time they need to be out, what time is snack time, what time is nap time. You already probably have, she probably already has this structure. Keep that party going. Put the yoga class on the schedule. Put the 30-minute
Yeah.
decompression session on the schedule. Put the walk around the neighborhood on the schedule.
Yeah, for sure. And I think what you're talking about is basically like time blocking, and I have found
Mm-hmm.
that effective. Some people do it very rigid, some people do it very loosely. It might,
Yep.
some people say this exact thing is going to be done at this time, or some people just say this is
Mm-hmm.
me time at this part of the day. But one other thing too that I think is important, and I started to learn this as I started to grow in my own business, as I started to grow in my career, and as I, got a family, with my wife, and started to have
Mm-hmm.
a lot of obligations, is finding, in sports they call it like every things are won on the margins, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Mm-hmm.
like if you suck at a sport and your team isn't good, it doesn't really matter what you do because you're just not that great of a team. And vice versa, if your team is an all-star team, and also you have a lot of room for error, right? Because your team is so good. But when you're at a point to where you're truly, let's say, competing for a championship and the
Mm-hmm.
race is close and there's a lot on the line, what helps you win those moments are the small things that are in the margins. And I relate that back to life in the sense that it's like when you are busy, you have a lot going on, you have a lot on your plate, you have a lot of people demanding your time. There are
Yep.
small things that you can do that can help you in those moments to make you operate more efficiently and make things better for you and your family. So you might not think of things like diet and how you're eating. Like Rhonda said, make sure that, she talks about that she takes time to meal prep. Like what you eat is fuel for your body, right? So it's
Yep.
like at moments to where you might feel lethargic or you might feel tired, like when you have so much on your plate and so many people demanding you, things like that dictate how you feel throughout the day and your ability to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. So you need to make sure that you're trying to eat as best as possible, that you're fueling your body as best as possible, that you're taking time to stretch, do walks, do different things that help your well-being, not only physically and mentally. And there's even things that I'm starting to learn too, as far as like hormonal balances and things like
Yep.
that all contribute to how you think on a day to day and how you act on a day to day. So it's like those small things when you're trying to use time the most efficiently can really help or hurt you and the effectiveness of what you're trying to do on a daily basis. So it's important to make sure that all those things as best as possible are, all aligned and working in favor of you and not against you.
That's right. That what we put in our mouths is fuel for our brain and our body 100%. And I can always feel, even though sometimes the guilty pleasures of eating what you want to eat, it feels good when you're consuming it. But as soon as you finish eating that, good 10, 15 minutes later, you're like, that whole thing that we say is the itis. That's a
Bruh.
very real thing that's just not healthy for your system. You should not feel
What?
like, oh, I need to lay down after I eat. You should not feel that way.
I know y'all seen that Boondocks episode, which the Boondocks incorporates a lot of things perfectly to a dramatic effect, but it's like real. I have those meals. If I eat Panda Express or anything like that, Bree knows like I will be out. Like I don't know if it's all that orange chicken like sauce or
All that
whatever.
sugary
Yeah,
sauce.
sugar, like dog. I'll be good for like 10 minutes, but I need somewhere to
Mhm.
lay down because I'm gonna be out for like a good 2 hours. And it's good in a moment, but then that feeling, and sometimes it can even go more than a day. Like you just feel the lethargic feeling on you, right? So it's just
Yeah,
important in the reference to the balancing of work and life, that if things are really tight and you're trying to balance things the best, making sure that you fuel your body right is going to be important.
for
From
sure.
speaking
For
from
sure, for sure.
experience.
Well, I would love to know what you guys do to balance out your life. So please drop that in the chat. We would love to hear like what you do. What are some of your tricks? Please help our real lover. Give some tips to his wife. And I'm sure he probably needs it too. Listen, being the breadwinner and having that much responsibility, you are not just responsible for you. You're responsible for your wife. You're responsible for taking care of your kids financially. And I bet that he also does things around the house. So that's a lot of pressure. So he probably needs
Yeah.
some good tips too. So please drop what you do to help keep yourself balanced in the chat so we can share. I want to move on and kind of talk a little bit about partnership, right? Like we say partnership, we know what that means in theory, like two people doing a thing together. And I think when
Hmm.
we think about it in romance, we think about marriage, right? Like or relationship. Your
Yeah.
partner's there. When you think about parenting, it's whatever your dynamic is, mom, dad, mom, dad. You just think about we've got to work together to do this thing. But I think sometimes we forget about the partnership that is needed for like well being and like
Yeah.
mental health. Like you have to be partners on that journey together. Like Dre, I know that like you and Brie are so in sync that like if she's off mentally, it's not a, oh, she's just having a moment. It could be that, but it's like her moment or her time could impact me. She's not going to show up the way that you would like for her to, or the best way possible as your wife, if she is not in a good mental space, right? So you have to be a partner to her in that. Like, do you agree?
Oh, 100%. I always say when my wife is not in a good headspace, like the house is just off. Like you could feel it, the
Hmm.
energy. Like you walk
Hmm.
in, you'll be like, "What is going on here?" Like I
Yeah.
don't like it. Now the hard part is, especially for men, in a relationship and in the position I am, is that we're so solution oriented, right? Is that we are like, let's try to fix this problem immediately because I don't like
Hmm.
what this space is feeling like.
Yeah.
But it's tough because in that moment, she might not want a solution in that moment or need
Right.
a solution. But I'm more concerned about like this aura, this vibe. Like, I don't like what is going on. So it's like, how do I fix it? So I think you're definitely right, but it's tough sometimes being in the position that I'm in with Bree at moments because sometimes she doesn't need the solution right now, or she's trying to work through it herself and just needs
Yeah.
time and space. But I have to be okay at moments with the house being a little off until she's able to get to the right headspace. So it's
Yeah.
definitely important to support each other through that, though.
Yeah, and I think that that thing that we like to say, and I say we like to say it because I find that it's starting to become a buzz or catchphrase instead of something that we really work hard at, and that is creating a safe space. I think that it is actually incredibly important in partnership that you make your person feel comfortable to be honest about when they can't show up the best way that they can. If you are frustrated when they express their frustrations, or if you're like, oh, just get over it, you are basically taking away their opportunity to feel comfortable and safe with you to say, I'm not feeling it today, or I went through some tough stuff at work today. And so I know I said I was going to cook dinner, but I can't, like, I just don't have the energy to. I think it's really about truly creating a safe space where like if they need to show up in 20% today, and you can manage taking on that 80, then just do that. That's really partnership. If we're trying to do something together, like think about, I don't know, you're trying to lift something, and we both are holding this box. If you just decide, because I can't take as much weight as you can, you just decide, well, you can, I can't. Well, the box is not going to move. We're not going to make a lot of progress. And I think that's really what partnership is truly about. This is when it matters the most. It's not just about deciding, oh, we like each other, oh, we love each other, let's just be together. It is really about, this ain't this, you're not where you need to be, or I'm not where I need to be, and I need to lean on you. I need to rely on you. I need your hug right now. I need your space. I don't even need you to help me fix it. I'm going to fix it. I just need to maybe like cuddle with you or look at you, or just for you to rub my back. I've been consoled by nothing. I mean, when I say by nothing, I mean by a person not saying anything. Like we are just laying there I told my ex one time I was having such a bad day. This was when you and I were working together. And he was like, "How was your day?" And I was like, "It was so bad. And all I need from you right now is just to let me cry on you. Like, I just need like a good few minutes to just cry." And he was like, "Okay." And we just sat on the couch and I just was like, and I didn't want him to say nothing. I didn't want him to inquire further. Just let me get it out. And let me get it out like on you because you're warm and you're my boo. And I was fine. Like I figured out the stuff at work, but I felt so safe to do that with him. Like he could just respect the fact that my girl just needs a moment, and I want to be that for my partner. You know what I mean? Like if you out here dealing with the world all day, especially if you are fully providing financial support, like what can I do so that you can rest in me on those days where you don't feel 100%. Like you can't come home and be the big boss that you were at work all day.
Yeah, I think that the thing that is the most challenging when it comes to finding that middle ground and getting to a point to where you guys can really support each other is that typically when somebody in the relationship is going through a tough time, it's also a tough time for the other person too, because
Yeah.
that person's going to be off. They're going to be behaving in a certain way. They might not be doing the same things that they did. They won't have the same attitude towards things. Things might
Mhm.
fall through the crack. And the thing that you have to come to realize is that both of you guys' feelings are valid. And I
Yeah.
think that's the issue sometimes that we face in those situations is that you're trying to express how valid your feelings are, sometimes how they trump the other person's feelings, or
Gosh.
almost saying that your feelings are more important or more valid than what they're feeling. So your thing should take priority. And it's like, no, both of what we're feeling is correct. Like
Yeah.
you have your perspective, you have your own experience in this space that has you feeling this way. And I have my own experience and why I'm feeling my way. And honestly, us both feeling the way we feel is probably contributing to some of the mess that we have currently. So if we get
Yeah.
past whose fault it is and who's to blame, and we try to figure out a solution to the problem, then I think we'll be better served to get through this. But a lot of us get caught up in that moment of like just trying to be heard and show that and try to validate like what you're feeling when it comes
Yeah.
to the conversation. So break communication tends to break down a lot when you're dealing with something like this.
Yeah, and I think to add to the part about like being supportive to their process, especially if they're having like mental health struggles, like he's saying, she's like mentally struggling. If she is mentally struggling, that means that she's not only struggling for herself, she's probably struggling in the marriage and she's probably struggling with the kids. It all trickles down. Like if she again can't be 100% of her, or at least at a high percentage, she might miss things with like, oh, a homework assignment or in the grocery store. Like I know when I'm under stress, I tend to be very forgetful. Like if I have to do something or I'm frustrated about another thing, I could go to the grocery store, have a list, and just not see something on the list because my mind is wandering off into whatever's stressing me out, whatever's frustrating me. But when I feel really good, when I've had a good night's sleep, when I got in a good workout, it's like, okay, like I feel so good, like when we just got on here and I like got my body moving because that is a just an exercise to like keep my energy high. So it is really important to not make your partner feel like they're on an island. Like you said, when you're going through something, we're going through something. When I'm going through something, we're going through something. It may not be your personal thing, but I care about you enough. I love you enough to want to at least hold space for you if that's all you need, but also to help you solve whatever the problems are because I'm here for you. You know what I mean? Like that's to me real love. No pun intended, but that's real love.
And the thing is that that's tough to hear sometimes. I think, and people may disagree with me, but I'm fine with that. It's just my way of thinking. How I was raised
Mhm.
is that whenever you are a leader, right, in any type of form, whether that's in business, whether that's on a team, and especially in a relationship, you are the first to have to take the back seat when it comes to making sure you're good. Like if it's between me and my wife, I'm gonna make sure she good first, and then I'll figure out how I'll make my way to being okay. Because if I get her good, I know that she is gonna get me good, right? And I feel like if you take that approach, it helps out in the dynamic because somebody has to do it, right? Sometimes we can't solve it. We can't, stitch each other's wounds at the same time. You know what I mean? We gotta have one person who takes the lead, does it for one person, and then once you heal up, then you can make sure I'm good. And I think that
Yeah.
as a leader, you have to embrace that. That's the unsexy part of leadership, right? You sometimes get the glory at times when things go well, but for the most part, it's in service of the people that's following you. So if you're in this position and your wife, you're working hard every single day to support your family, but your wife is in this kind of almost like a spiral of like unhappiness, not seeing it in. Where can I go from here? I'm exhausted, I'm burnt out. There's a lot of sacrifices that you're going to have to make, and your role as being the leader of the household taking on even more. I know you get up and go to work every day. Work might be challenging, work might be hard, but then it's you to come home and help relieve her for a season as well. And we'll get
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
some things that can, help you, but it's your role to help her in that season as a leader to help her get right. So then in return, how I typically see it happen, if the relationship is healthy and you both love each other, that will come back tenfold once she gets good.
I love that. That's why you a husband, Dre. That's why you a good. That's why you a good husband. Well, speaking of like how to help, right? Because he didn't just say, "I want some strategies and some tips on just like how to help." Understanding that there are some financial constraints here, because I think the first thing several people would think of is just hire some help, get her a cleaner, get us somebody to come and cook every week, or send her off to a spa day, like those are things that in today's world they were expensive 2 years ago, 4 years ago. They even more expensive today. It's not even
Hmm.
practical to just do some of these things. And I'm sure that if he could, he probably would. But
For
the
sure.
reality is they have to work within the confines of what is most important as far as the money is concerned. Like, yes, trips and grooming and all that stuff would be really nice, but when you're raising a family of four on a single income, and we don't know what his income is, but I don't think that if it was bountiful, this would even be a question, right? I'm sure he could
Hmm.
be like, "Oh no, I'll get you a part-time nanny. I'll blah 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 blah." So I think about this because we have so many people who write us sometimes are like, should I be dating? Because I don't really got money like that. And I'm thinking, y'all just not being creative. You're not really thinking, because it's ways to do a lot of things with a little bit of money and with a tight budget that are incredibly impactful. Um, I just like, I know that, like, even this, Dre, you're very like thoughtful and sweet. Like the picnic that you did for Bree, I'm sure that it wasn't free because you hired someone to do it, but I'm sure it also wasn't crazy expensive. It was like, but it was so impactful because it's something that she really wanted. That's what made it invaluable. That's
Hmm.
what really made it invaluable, right? Like that, to me, the sentimental, the thoughtfulness to know that you considered me, that costs you practically nothing to do
Yeah.
those types of things, right?
Hmm. Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, it's definitely being thoughtful, but if we're going to get into some tips that like how to, you know,
Mhm.
do things on a tight budget, especially to help them in this situation, there's one
Mhm.
thing that first comes to mind above anything when it comes to like how even with their financial situation, you could help your wife kind of dig out of this feeling that she's feeling. So, number one for me is draw up an escape plan. That's always going to be
Mm.
number one for me. Like I feel like people get the most comfort no matter what other things you try to do, dinners, drinks, massages here, the problem still exists and we don't know how we're getting out, right?
Mhm.
People go skydiving, right? Falling out of a plane leads to your death. Why do they feel comfortable doing it? Because they know that there's a plan to make sure that they don't fall to their death. So then it
Right.
becomes more enjoyable and it becomes a better experience. So the first thing that you need to do even if you're single and you're in a tight budget situation, is designing your escape plan, because that's going to give you the most comfort at the end of the day. Like the small things will help along the way, but if you have a plan, at least to know like, how am I going to get out of this? Like, and
Yeah.
even if that plan changes, the great thing about money is that although we get in bad situations with money because it's an emotional decision, it's math. Like if you make a certain amount and your expenses a certain amount, it can let you know, if you stick to a certain plan, where you will be 6 months from now or 10 months from now,
Yeah.
barring any emergencies, right? If you subtract some of these expenses, then you'll have more money left over. Like it's simple. So I would first, if I was him, like really sit down and y'all come up with, first, what do you want? And how do we design a plan to get there? Even
Yeah.
if it's a 5-year plan, even, something, it's like, hey, once the kid is 6, they'll be in elementary school. So then we will have a 1-year old in like 4 months or 5, then we can do this and do that. And
Mhm.
like creating a plan is going to be the first thing I think on a tight budget that you just need to do, is like, how are we going to get out of this?
Yeah.
And then second, I know you're gonna come up with some sweet ideas and things, so I'm gonna leave that for you.
You
The
could do.
second thing,
Okay, got you. I got you.
the second thing for me is asking people for help. Like legitimately, I don't know why we got away from this as like people, right? Like humans are communal, like animal. We're herd animals
We
essentially.
are
Like
a village. That's what we're
we are.
supposed to be.
Exactly. We're villages. There used to be stories back in the day. The neighbor watching this person. It was like the whole cul-de-sac or street was really looking out for one another. And you have to utilize those resources. Don't be afraid to ask people for help. Like I myself is like, I have friends who have little girls and everything, and we love them to death. There's times that I've watched them for a few hours because the parents needed a break, right? And there's
Mhm.
times where Bree and I slept over a friend's house and watched their kid and their dog for a few days and house sat, just so they can enjoy some time to themselves and alone. Like you have to ask people for help, because part of getting out of the situation that we don't really talk about, and could have talked about this in a work-life balance thing, is that in order to change your situation, sometimes you need breathing room to even think about your situation. You
Yes.
know what I mean? It's like it's hard to fix the problem when you're in the mess. Like sometimes I just need a break to think about what I'm actually going through to figure out what I could possibly do.
I just need my brain to not have to hear a child saying mommy 8 times. I can't even think about anything right now because they're here. I just need a break. I just need a break to think. Yeah,
Exactly.
you hit the
Exactly.
nail on the head, man. Like, you see, I popped up with that because that's literally for me. And again, I don't have kids. I have dogs. They can't talk. I mean, they talk, but it's not the same. It's not the same. And they can be very demanding. But like when I think about like my job or just like all of my responsibilities, it's like, dude, the best thing that could happen to me right now is someone giving me a vacation where I don't have to do anything and I want to be by myself. This is why I took that trip for Christmas. Like a big part of that solo trip during a time where most people are like with people, they're with their families, was for me to just have isolated time to think about what I want to do, what my year is going to look like next year without pressure, without distractions, without work, without any demands. And it felt so good. Like you can literally feel when your brain is resting and when it is not. Like if you're a person who sleeps with like a watch on or anything, like I would encourage anybody that's not doing that to just like try it to see like how our brains even work very hard in our sleep. And usually when they're doing that, it is because something is off when you're awake. Like you're stressed or it's too much going on because your mind literally just won't rest. This is why sometimes you can sleep for 6 and 7 hours and feel like you only slept for two. Yeah, because your brain was exceptionally active while you were sleeping. But I do want to talk about some just like not that what you said isn't sweet because it takes practicality. It absolutely
Hmm.
takes practicality to get out of a situation and to just create more of a balance. But there are also just some nice gestures that you can do as well. The first and probably most obvious one I would think is understand what she does, understand what her responsibilities are at home. It's very easy to just say she takes care of the kids, she takes care of the house. But like, what does that all actually entail? And I would have the conversation with her, like, what are you constantly doing? Like, what's your day to day looking like? So that you understand where you can chip in and where you can help. Like, is it if you know that she does laundries on Saturday mornings, and maybe that's the time that you normally play ball or something. If there's a way for you to adjust it where like maybe you still play ball at 8 o'clock, but you get up a couple hours before ever so often and you manage the laundry and let her sleep in. Or you take the kids with you while you play basketball so she doesn't have to do it on that particular day. Doing those little things where you're just taking one of her responsibilities off her plate, even if you're not doing it regularly. Again, even if you can do it this Saturday, but you can't do it for another 3 Saturdays. Or if you did something this Thursday, but you can't do it every Thursday, that's okay. Because I think just trying and showing, like, today I just wanted to give you a break. Today I just wanted to take that thing off your plate. I think also, you have a 4-year-old. The baby is still a bit of a baby, but the 4-year-old, you can get them in on it to just like, even if they're not really doing anything, it just appears that they are. If you're like me and baby clean the bathroom today, and like we did it, we wanted to take care of mommy in this way today, or like we made you pizza, mom, for dinner. You go sit down, me and baby are going to cook dinner for you tonight. And it could be a mess of a dinner, okay? Like, because the kids making dinner at 4 years old, it's going to be a mess. But it's the fact that you thought enough of her to just allow her to sit down again for 30 minutes, for an hour, for 2 hours, for longer if you can afford that. Like afford the time to give her that kind of break.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say. I mean, well, everything you said is completely true, and I've seen in situations that sometimes it's not really on the mom necessarily, but dad has to give faith to mom that he can keep the kids alive for a day or two. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
for for at least, while especially a baby under one,
Hmm.
it's like
Yeah.
I can keep the babies alive. Like, give her a weekend. Like, there are so many affordable, nice things you could do, even if it's a weekend away or a day away, just by herself, 2 days. Like, you can do that for like $300, or like, I'm
Yeah.
sure you're in driving distance of somewhere that might be nice, like something to where you could be like, babe, I got the kids. Don't worry. They're my kids. I can keep them alive for a day or two. You know what I mean? Like, we will be fine. You know what I
We
mean?
will
It's
be
like,
okay.
we will be okay. Like, you don't have to
Yeah.
worry. I got them. I want you to take some time for you. Right. So
Yeah.
I see that a lot, especially with under one, babies under one. They be like, I ain't leaving that baby with their daddy. I mean, I love
It's
him.
crazy.
I
That's so
love him. He a good man. He provides, but
but baby, that child is gonna have on a raincoat and an undershirt at school today. If I like it makes me think about my boss. She told me one time, she's like, so my husband is supposed to be taking care of the kids today. She was like, but I knew that if I didn't get them dressed, the rest of his day would be bad. So she still did that, even though he said, like, I got it. She was like, because the last time you had getting them dressed, it did not go right. It didn't go right. So
you
I
know what the
think that
balance of that is too, though, is
mm,
that the dad will just let them do what they want, but he'll be way less stressed during that time. How were the kids?
yep,
Oh, they were fine. One
they
of
were
them
great.
running around the house, no shirt on.
With a
Might
pot
be
on their
some.
head.
Yeah, they were
Hmm.
great because I just let them do what they wanted to do.
They had a blast.
You
They had a
stress it out
blast.
because you try to get them all in order, and it's like,
Hmm.
dad, like,
Is
nope.
that dog poop or mud? Babe, not sure. But good news is we got a tub. We got a bath. I got them. Don't worry about it. Let them have fun. I think that is so hilarious, but I think that's so true. Like, one, show your wife that you can actually manage them, so that she probably would even just feel more relaxed when it's time for her to be sent away. And in addition to like, well, in line with that tip as well, like to what you were saying about asking for help, I'm sure your wife has at least one girlfriend, probably even two. Talk to them. Be like, hey, listen, I'm trying to do something to give her a break. I don't have a bunch of money. You know what I mean? Like, because honestly, the two closest homegirls know what's up. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So, I got $150 to set aside. What do y'all think I can do for her? Or can you help me do something for her? Like, can you come and pick her up at 12 o'clock tomorrow? I'll have her ready to go. I'll cash up y'all the $150, take her out, have a good time. Like, I would be all over that. Like, if my like friend's husband, like if Greg hit me and was like, I'm trying to do something nice for Crystal, which he's done before, like, what should I do? Like when their anniversary last year, he was like, I Greg's a really good cook. My friend Crystal's husband, he's a really good cook. But Crystal is like decent. She's not as great, but she wants to get better. So he was like, I really think I want to like do something with her around cooking. I was on that internet so fast. What? Let me find these cooking classes in y'all area. Hold on 1 second. And oh, this one is very nice. You could bring your own blah, 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 blah. This one is cute. Okay, she don't eat that. I sent him so many links. He was like, man, I appreciate it. It made me happy to just help my friend's husband show up for his wife. Like, so get the friends in on it. That's a part of the asking for help. Get the village to help you take good care of your wife. But the second cute thing that I think is just like super easy to do, you just need to go to Michael's or craft store or a little office store, get some cute little post-its. They have heart-shaped ones, they have colorful ones. And just when you have some time, don't let her see you doing this. Maybe you do it at work, but just write out little love notes, little appreciation notes, and like put them around in the places that you know that she manages the house. Like put it in the spice cabinet, put it in the laundry basket, put it in places where as she's running through the house, put it wherever the kids' snacks are, so that as she's pulling that, she sees like you were thinking about her. Yes, is it a lot of work to wrangle the kids? Sure. Is it a lot of work to cook dinner every night? Absolutely. But to happen upon these cute little notes where it's like, babe, I know that this steak is going to be so good. Like, thank you so much for making sure we have a quality dinner every week. Like that little stuff would make my heart explode. Just being thought of to just be thanked for what is my job. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is my job to do it, but it doesn't mean that I don't want a pat on the back. It doesn't mean that I don't want to be appreciated for it. No different than if I was staying at home with the kids. I would be very grateful and appreciative that my husband has the energy, has the wherewithal, has the God given talent, and God's guidance to go out and work hard to make sure that we have what we need financially. So I think just spending time appreciating your wife, just telling her through notes, through cards, through words that you appreciate her would really be super impactful and basically be free. You can get the posters for less than $5.
For sure. It helps extend the span. Even though you want to change the situation, it gives you that boost like, okay, like I can do this. And
Yeah.
there's also like a psychological effect to that. I don't know if you ever heard this to where it's like you're more inclined to get somebody to do something consistently if you celebrate them for that thing versus
Yeah.
asking them to do that thing. So it's, for instance, like if you tell somebody like, boy, this is the best dressed person I know, every time I see you, you dress fly, like every single time, and you say that enough, every time they get up to go see you, you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna try to make sure that they
Mm-hmm.
dress right, because you know that's the
They
expectation
working
that you
for that
set,
compliment.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't even say like, can you dress well or can you do this? You're just big upping them every time. This person, the nicest person I ever met. This person always consistent. This person, like, if you start to do that to people, they'll try to meet your expectation, right? A lot of
Yeah.
times we're asking people to do stuff. Can you do this? Can you do that? Start celebrating them for that thing and making that the new standard. And guess what? They're gonna try to continue to meet that standard every time they see you or interact with you, because in their mind they don't want to fall in your mind like from what you see them as. So I've seen that be super effective, and that's part of that. It's like, you know, if you send in those messages of appreciation, like I appreciate you, always making sure that, like you said, food is on the table and that's a great meal. Babe, you are an amazing cook. Boy, I like when you be trying different things. She now feels like, oh, like that's amazing. I want to
Yes.
continue to have him feel that feeling, right? So
Yep.
I'm
Yep.
going to the next day, let me look in this cookbook and see. And then that might be enjoyment. That was one of my things, right? Find enjoyment in what you're doing, right? Before you can even find the balance, there might be some enjoyment in that. So them, I've seen it happen with couples. It's like, then at that point, she started picking up a cookbook, and now the excitement is like, let me try something different today. Let me switch
Yeah.
it up. Like, see, this meal
Mhm.
or that meal. I never tried this before. And there's some small enjoyment in that surprise. And then the appreciation is really the gift. It's like just to see the smile on your face from me trying something different or
Yeah.
me doing something for you. It's like that's the type of love that truly works for long, happy, healthy relationships, is trying to one up each other in the happiness department and making sure you guys,
Mhm.
take care of each other in every single way possible.
That's it. That is it. I said it on a previous episode, the Lady London lyric when she's really talking about money, but I feel like it's applicable when she say he gonna trick and I'm a trick, but he gonna trick bigger. Let's just keep the party going. Okay? Keep it going. Oh, you did that? Watch this. I'm gonna do this. Oh, you did that. Oh, I love that. If we gonna go back and forth about anything, we're gonna be tit for tat about anything. It is one upping each other in the happy department. And the last thing I'll say to what you were just talking about, that psychological boost of energy when you're like praised for something, it's also like it makes you sometimes be willing to kind of stick out a tough situation because it's like,
Yeah.
it's hard, but it's all right. Like they appreciate it, and I can make this work a lot longer versus someone that is just acting like it's an expectation and they're entitled to these types of things. So you may even just help her mental burnout with making like just by complimenting her and appreciating her for the little things, which are really huge things.
Yes. I'll tell you something from my time talking to plenty of people about relationships over the years and also my professional experience, which I'm sure a lot of people listening or watching have experienced this and you have experienced it as well, is that people leave something more because of people than the actual situation. I've seen people stick out tough situations because the people they're in it with are solid, cool people they can go through it with and have a good time with through the mess. But I've seen a lot of people leave because even a great situation, because the people are irking they last nerve and they can't get through it with that person. So it's like when you're looking at a situation, I think to your point of what you're saying, that those moments, those boosts, being able to stick it out, it's like if the person that's in this mess with me is solid, I feel appreciated, I feel the love, I feel the
Mhm.
care, and they are the bright spot in this really, really, really dark room, then
Ooh,
I can stay in this situation a little bit longer and enjoy it a little bit more than I would have if that situation wasn't solid. But like I said, let it flip the other way. Great situation, but that person in that moment, and I hate to say it, but we see it a lot of times with people who are in relationships with somebody who got money or influence or power, but the way they treat it, it's like that person
horrible.
is non-existent in that relationship, right? And they
Yeah,
end up can't taking it because it's like this doesn't feel good. I'm
right.
feel like I'm in here alone and by myself, and this is not really what I signed up for. So if
Yeah,
you can find, I mean, and at the end of the day, I said it before. That's what relationships are. It's who you going through stuff with, crap
that's
with.
it.
Like
That's it. That's it.
that's who are you going through crap with? The ups, and you're choosing your partner of who you're going through the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of life with. That's what you're
Yep,
deciding. So
that's
yeah,
it.
we can all find people during the good, that's great. But who gonna rock out with them bad times and make the bad not even feel that bad?
That's it. That's
That's
it.
what you're looking for.
That's exactly what you're looking for. It makes me think about our old job. It was a great situation, but that person, whoo, got us right on up out of there. Bye bye. I've got to go. See you later. So you hit the nail on the head. I really really hope that like we were able to help, and I think just him, like I said, taking the initiative to just say like I want to help her. I don't want her to be burnt out. I don't want her to struggle mentally. I think that is like you have a heart of gold. You have a
For
heart of gold.
sure.
You could have just been like, listen, she just wanted to be stressed because she don't have no job. So I mean, what she expect? Like, I gotta go. You could have taken that stance, but the fact that you were like, help me help my wife
It was
feel
so
better and
awesome.
not be so super duper awesome, man. Like apply these things. And I'm sure that there are gonna be people in the comments on the replay that will also share some tips on just like how to practically show up for your relationship without having to spend a bunch of money. Honestly, it's really about how you make the person feel in here versus the tangible things that you can provide to them. A lot of times, even with tangible things, people get so emotional about them because whatever you did tangibly really actually touched their heart. Like my mom cried when I bought her, and listen, it wasn't nothing too crazy, but I bought her a car years ago. My mother boo-hooed because it was like my kid that I raised did good enough for herself, and like not just financially. I raised a good kid that would want to help me out in this way. That made her boo-hoo. It wasn't so much about the car itself. Like it wasn't. It was really about the fact that I thought enough of her to want to do something special for her that she needed, that she desired, that she wanted. So find the way to touch your wife's heart. You know what she likes, you know what she needs. Go to that, tug on those heartstrings, but also, like Dre said, come up with that escape plan, get her involved in it so that she knows that you both know, honestly, that there's light at the end of the tunnel for sure.
Yeah, and I would say with that escape plan, make sure that it's layered for sure. Because if I want to build a 12-story building, I know the 12-story building is the goal, but the first floor has to come first, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And that first floor, we got to do the plumbing, we got to do the electric. Those are small little goals and things that we still need plans to execute. And then we'll get to, over time, get to the 12-story building. So, although let's say her dream is to have her own business and go into entrepreneurship, let's say that's the goal, and you want to create a plan for that. But let's start also with a plan for relief for you on Saturdays. Like, how do we get there? That's a smaller goal to reach to first. How do we get, relief for you on this day or for that day? Like, let's start with smaller plans that can provide some relief, and then we can get to the larger plan. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we go, I want to shout out where our people are joining us from because we got some cool check-ins tonight. Let's see who is in here. I see Livy G. Hey Livy G, sending us love from Toronto from the six. You check on Drake. Check on
Oh,
Drake. No,
stop.
no
Leave
shit.
him
Let
alone. Leave
Okay.
him alone.
Okay, sorry. Okay, sorry. I take it back. I like Drake. I do like Drake. It looks like we got Letitia or Letitia from Winston-Salem, North Carolina. On and raised. Like my family's from Charlotte, so shout out to you. Um,
Hey.
Flash J is joining us from Milwaukee. I'm also dying laughing at yes, we have black people and not all forms of black people. I could believe that. I could believe that, Flash J, but you black and
I
you
feel like
and
everywhere
you.
got a little pocket. You know what I mean? Everywhere got a little pocket.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Brad Mitchell, hey, joining us from Philly. What's up? What's up, Philly, Philly? Yeah, so thank y'all for tapping in with us tonight from your different places. We so appreciate you. Listen, if you have a real life scenario, you want our help, go to our website and submit your story. We love helping you just like we helped our good gentleman tonight. Also connect with us online on social media. I'm at Ronnie Cakes
As Dre Smith.
and at Relationship Restored. And please, we would love it if you would become a member of our community. It's super easy to do. Go to relationshiprestored.com/community and join. It's real fun
Please
over
do.
there. We about
It
to have
is.
Bible study. We've been having like check-ins. It's been so good. It's like every time I get a little alert from the community, I'm like, oh, this is
Oh.
so nice. Like it's just like a pep in your step. It's a positive community for encouragement in all ways. It's not just about relationships. It's not just about romance. It's
Mhm.
literally we're building a true community there, and I love it.
And as Rhonda says, talking about safe spaces, that is exactly what it is, and it's what it's meant for. So please come
Yeah.
over and join.
We love y'all. We'll see you next week.
Peace.